We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike and she's Sophie.
And unfortunately, Brenda cannot join us today. She's got a little bit of a frog in her throat.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's not a frog that Grogu gave her.
yeah. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given it to her.
Right. And he's Grogu and we're on the road with Mickey. This is episode 144 for October 31st, 2022, Halloween. So happy
Yeah.
Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween! I've got my costume on. Daddy's being a spoil sport.
I am dressed as an IT professional.
That's what you are usually.
Well, okay then.
And I
And
am a pretty, pretty princess.
that's right.
And you all will address me as your highness. I'm kidding.
And Grogu was a Jedi.
Yes, a Jedi with a frog bag. Well, we got some special stuff today.
Yeah, our feature topic this week is our favorite nighttime attractions. And even though Brenda wasn't able to join us, she sent along her list. So
Hmm.
she's going to be part of the conversation. She'll just be quiet today. She's dressed up in
As a ghost.
invisibility. Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of ghosts, when hinges creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls, whenever candlelights flicker, and the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight.
Nice. Well done, Sophie.
I repeated all of that without memorizing it. Well, I memorized it. I don't have it written down anywhere, is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a good opener. So thank you, Sophie, for doing that.
Of
And
course,
I
since
have
you're hogging all the cheese.
I have just a little bit of cheddar. One is total rumor mill, but it's got me so excited, and I'm going to start with that. Can it be? Is it possible that we might be seeing a return of the Walt Disney World Railroad sooner rather than later? Rumor has it that the railroad may reopen in time for Thanksgiving. I will stress that this is all speculation. I have nothing to go on as far as firm information, but my railroader heart is dreaming of the time we can ride the railroad again.
I certainly hope so, but at the same time, if the railroad's open, that means that Tron is open.
Tron is not going to open until spring of 2023.
I know, that's why I'm thinking that it's just rumor mill.
Right, but it is rumor, total rumor. But I also read that a cast member on a Keys to the Kingdom tour said that the railroad would open
Hmm.
before Tron.
My,
So
my.
so anyway, that is just that's speculation. That is nothing to go on. I have no facts, no hard evidence. Um, but hard evidence. Last week, Disney released a promotion for travel from December 11th through 25th, 2022, as well as most nights January through March 2023. If you want more information about the promotion and to check pricing, reach out to us, either Brenda at pixievacations.com or Mike at pixievacations.com, and we'll be happy to talk to you. You can also fill out a quote online at our website, which is ontheroadwithmickey.com. So that's just a little promotion. If someone wants to look into what a trip might look like for your dates. If you don't have a trip already and you're interested in seeing what the pricing would look like, we would love to help you talk through all that. So reach out if you're interested. But anyway, that is the cheddar from the big cheese, and you can connect to us with us on our regular channels on Facebook and in our group, our YouTube channel if you're seeing us online, or of course on Instagram and via email to info@ontheroadwithmickey.com. So that is our, what do we call that? Our housekeeping
Cheddar from
sort of.
the, I don't know.
Anyway, and now it is time for our feature topic, our favorite nighttime attractions. And since I am a gentleman and I was going to have Brenda go first, I'm instead going to have Sophie go first. And then I'm going to give mine and then we're going to follow up with Brenda's, okay?
All
And
right then,
Sophie
if
and
you
I will
insist.
alternate who, says which one for Brenda. So Sophie, you take it away.
All right then, well, my first one, and this is one that I don't think anyone else has thought of, but I'm also going park by park because there are some rides in Disneyland versus Disney World that are different. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say that my number 5 ride to do at night is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, specifically in Disneyland.
Why Disneyland?
Well, the Mad Hatter's Tea Party at Disney World is enclosed under an awning, but the one in Disneyland is open to the sky and it has all these lanterns hanging around above you. And they're very colorful and they look so pretty when it's nighttime.
That's cool. I
Yeah,
hadn't even given any thought to Disneyland. But there's like it's like its own show
it
of
is
attractions
almost.
at Disneyland that are really cool at night.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And just so everyone's aware, what we're doing was we're going from 5 to 1, with number 1 being our favorite one that we want to do at night. So that's how we're ranking them. Um, as for me, number 5 on my list is a tough one because I don't have anything written down. And I'm trying to organize them in my head. But I think I'm going to go kind of with an old school. And I am going to say, only because of memories that I have, I'm going to say Dumbo at Walt Disney World.
Oh, that's cute.
And the reason it is because that's where, when we were there in 2010 and um, Cindy and I were getting ready to do the carousel, we looked over to Dumbo and Mickey and Minnie were riding Dumbo with some park guests, and that was so cool. So, so to me, Dumbo is the one I'm thinking of.
I That is a very wholesome one, Daddy. I like that.
So, and then why don't you give Brenda's number 5?
Yes, Brenda. I love her so much. I'm glad that she was able to at least contribute. I'm sorry that she's not here. But her number 5 was Slinky Dog Dash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I can't really speak for her, but I can speculate as to why. And Hollywood Studios at night is just amazing. There's not really much that can be said about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I still, and one day I'll fix this, but I still have not experienced Slinky Dog Dash. One day that will change. So don't be sad, people. Sophie, don't be sad.
I'm
It's okay.
smiling. What are you talking about?
You looked a little sad, I thought. But I can imagine at night Slinky Dog Dash being really cool.
I could too, yeah.
Yeah.
I've only ridden it during the day, so
Yeah. So that's something we both need to rectify, isn't it?
it is, yeah.
Okay. All right. So moving on, number 4, Sophie.
All right, my number 4. Oh, this was actually really, really tough for me. But my number 4, I'm gonna go with Tower of Terror. And that's just because I don't stay very late at Hollywood Studios. I wish I would, but I just don't. And honestly, I think I can't actually remember a time when I rode Tower of Terror at night. I rode it late in the afternoon, but usually it's the last thing we hit before we're about to leave for the day. The last thing I hit, at least. My parents by this point are all rode out and they just want to sit back and relax. Meanwhile, I'm like, okay, you have fun sitting there for a couple hours. I'm gonna go over here.
Yep.
Yup.
Yep. That's the way it works, and that's okay.
hmm It's a good system.
Yeah.
But
So,
yes, I'm just imagining it at night. Of course, it won't be all lit up like the tower is at night, but the view, because you still get those views whenever you're going up in there. And
mhm.
I can just see it now. I could probably see the Epcot ball if I'm being. Wait, no, Epcot is the other way. Never mind. I can't think properly.
That's okay. But
Still, it would be very
it's
fun at
still
night.
a neat
hmm
thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense, and I can agree with that. And it's kind of funny because even though it's an indoor attraction, it's like you said, it opens up and you see the park,
hmm
So it totally makes sense that it would be worth seeing at night. So, number 4 for me, um I think I am going, and it's kind of a conundrum in some ways because it's pretty much an indoor attraction, but it's a dark ride. So if it's a dark ride, is it? I mean, it wouldn't be any different nighttime versus daytime, would it?
What? Well, well, it depends. What ride are you talking about? Because I have a dark ride on my list.
Yeah. Um. Well, I'm thinking of Spaceship Earth,
I
and
think
it's
that's a
not so
great one.
much. I think it's not so much in this instance. I don't think it's as much that it's the ride itself as it is the everything around it. The beauty of Spaceship Earth and the geodesic dome and how it looks at night and everything like that. I think is playing a factor in why I want to experience it at night, whether or not even though it's totally inside. So I don't know that I'm not 100% sold on that, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
hmm
Um,
You know what? I can think of a reason why I would put it on my list if I did. I didn't
mhm.
put any Epcot rides on my list, but I think the reason that Spaceship Earth is a good nighttime ride is because depending on where you're staying, like with us, we stay at Magic Kingdom resorts a lot. So what we do is we take the monorail to the Magic Kingdom after Epcot closes, especially if we had a park hopper, or we would just take it there so that we could get on the monorail and go back to our Magic Kingdom resort, like say Bay Lake Towers.
Right.
Yeah. Um and so it's like a last minute ride you can hop on before the night is over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great ride to get.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you,
hmm
Sophie. I have permission, everyone, from Sophie, so it's staying on the list.
Silly. All
Now,
right.
do you want to give Brenda's number 4 because it's one of your favorites, and then I'll take the next one?
Sure, if you want me to take her number 4, I will.
It's up to you.
All right, then I'll go ahead and do it. Well, no, Brenda's number 4, I can see now. Daddy's right. This is one of my favorites, and you guys can already kind of guess what it is. And I can see the appeal for writing it at night, but I have to disagree with her on one fundamental thing. The night is way colder than the daytime is. And
That's
so
true.
if you ride this at night, you are going to be freezing like a popsicle. And I am talking about the only ride in Magic Kingdom where you get extremely wet, besides Pirates of the Caribbean, if you're sitting next to Daddy. Splash Mountain. The view is amazing, yes, but you're still getting soaking wet.
But if you're going in the middle of July, you may not be that cold. It might be a really nice refreshing.
That's true, that's true.
So keep that in mind. Just an idea. If you're right though, December, probably not doing Splash Mountain.
No.
At night.
No. No. And my mind is currently in holiday mode.
Yeah. Yeah. So is mine. So is mine. So that's a good one though, Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
Splash Mountain and Brenda. Good job, Brenda. Good choice. Splash Mountain is a really good ride, and it's like some of these rides are, they're part indoors, part outdoors, and that one is a perfect blend. So, all right. Well, Sophie, sticking with
Yes.
you, number 3 on your list.
My number 3, and I saw Aunt Brenda's list and I was like, wait a minute, that's a lot like mine. Okay. But my number 3, because I basically redid the order that all of hers were in. Well, not all of hers, all of mine were in, since I love these so much. My number 3 is a ride that, again, we don't really get an opportunity to go on at night after the sun has set, and that's because Animal Kingdom closes usually before the sun goes down. At least that's how it feels, especially in the summer. But I'm talking about Expedition Everest.
Yeah.
That ride is already spooky enough with that Yeti in pitch blackness. But at night, you can just feel that there's going to be an extra layer of ambiance to it.
Yeah.
And Expedition Everest is a great ride. Let's be real. Unless you're a coward.
Well, if you're afraid of it, you're afraid of it, and that's okay.
It is.
Doesn't make you a coward. There were times when you wouldn't ride it when you were younger. So we've
Yeah.
done single rider before because of that, or rider swap, I mean. But that's okay. So just like, I don't like Tower of Terror, but I don't think of myself as a coward.
No, you're not a coward, Daddy.
But I don't like Tower of Terror.
You're only a coward if you try faking being sick in order to get out of riding a ride.
No, let's not go there. Number
Jagan.
3 for me. Number 3 is my number 3 choice is Space Mountain.
Ooh,
Again,
another indoor ride.
It's indoors, but
you know what? If you can see the stars in it, I'm counting it.
yeah, and the thing about it is an indoor ride, but when you're walking over that way or walking out after having ridden it, especially during the not so scary Halloween party, it feels like the ride is faster, and it feels darker even more so. But when you're walking out and it's dark, it's almost like you never left the ride, even though you're walking, not riding. So I don't know, but Space Mountain is on my list.
I totally get it.
So.
Really, any ride should be on the list. There are just some that hit different.
Yeah.
All right then, and I guess it's time for you to take Aunt Brenda's.
Oh yeah. Number 3 for Brenda is at Hollywood Studios, and it is The Tower of Terror. So, just like Sophie's number 4, Brenda has it at number 3, and it's because she loves Tower of Terror. So, but I think she loves it more during the day because she doesn't seem to ride it much at night. Or she just likes these other two that she has even better at night. So,
To be fair, I don't think a lot of us stay very late at Hollywood Studios.
I think if you're staying late, you're staying for Phantasmic, which remember reopens. I think what is it? November 3rd is when Phantasmic will be performing again at Hollywood Studios. Brenda reminded us of that last week.
Oh my gosh, that's happening in 3 days.
Yeah. So, golly, I hope someone does like a live stream. It would be really cool to see it live. Maybe Disney
Hmm.
Parks will do it live.
Maybe.
But anyway, getting sidetracked. So I think if you're at Hollywood Studios at night, now you're there, I think, in many cases because of Phantasmic. So that's probably where you're. And you know what? That brings up a point about some of these attractions. Seeing them at night, if you're there, if you're trying to ride them when they're doing things like fireworks and shows and whatnot that are very popular, then a lot of times you can walk almost right on to these rides. So not that Dumbo would be like a 4 hour wait anyway, but like Space Mountain could have a long wait, and
You're
if
right.
they're doing fireworks, you may not. So,
Yeah, because a lot of people like the fireworks, so it depends
hmm
on what you're willing to sacrifice.
yeah. So just keep that in mind, people. So
Hmm.
moving to Sophie. Back to Sophie for number 2 on her list.
All right, and this is my dark ride that is on my list. Technically, Tower of Terror and Everest are both somewhat enclosed, but this one is fully indoors. And it's one of my favorite rides overall. You guys can probably guess what it is. I had a quote from it earlier.
Uh-huh.
The Haunted Mansion.
A haunted mansion.
Let's
Yeah.
be real. As much as going inside that mansion during the day is, as soon as you walk out of it, as soon as you get off the ride, the immersion is broken. And it's sad because I want to walk out feeling like a ghost really will follow me home.
And at night you get that feeling, huh?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Because the ghosts are not all that scary or mean. They're
Right.
actually quite nice. And I want to be friends with one.
Okay. Well, make friends with Casper then.
Casper's not in the Haunted Mansion, but I
True.
will. I was friends with Casper for a while there, then you got rid of her.
That's right. Casper was our car, and it was a white colored car. It was a Dodge. Um, what was it? It wasn't the Journey. It was the one before that. But anyway, it was a Dodge, and it was a little crossover SUV. And when we traded her in, but she was Casper, and that's what we called her, Casper, because she was white. So
Hmm.
now my Honda Civic is red, and her name is Ruby. So there you go. A little history and a little background insight into Mike Ellis
And Sophie Ellis.
and Sophie Ellis.
Hmm.
But anyway, number 2 on my list, and Sophie's right. The, the um the attractions at Animal Kingdom are hard to see at night because a lot of times Animal Kingdom in the summer I think is closing at like 7 or 8 p.m., which is almost before it gets dark. Um, I don't know what it closes in the winter. I'm going to guess 5 or 6 p.m., which might be closer to darkness, you know. Um, but for me, this area of Animal Kingdom is really neat, even if it's, it's really neat to see at night. And I'm talking Pandora. And so I know we've
Mm.
covered it as far as all that goes with the areas that we like to see. And we've talked about that on other podcasts. But to me, Navi River Journey, because it's a dark ride and it's indoors, of course, but coming out of the dark ride at night is just really cool to me. So I'm going with Navi River Journey for this one.
That
So
is a very good choice. I hadn't even thought about Pandora.
well, because we're also, we think about it, it's the land that really sells those attractions at night, Obviously, you're not getting anything extra for riding them at night because, they're indoors. But coming out and the lighting and the way they've done the land just really sets the stage. So
Yeah.
I hope at some point in the future Disney extends hours for Animal Kingdom to where you can experience more of it at night.
Yeah,
So that would be really neat.
it would be.
So so
Well then.
anyway, that's an unexpected one. I don't know that many people would think about that one for nighttime attractions.
All right then. Well, moving on to Aunt Brenda. I took two in a row. Do you want to take two in a row?
Okay, I will take her number 2 and I will talk about Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which is probably, well, shoot, who am I kidding? It's number 1 on my list.
I was gonna say it's number one on mine too. That's why I wanted you to talk about it.
But anyway, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is so cool at night. And you know what? I'm not going to say anything more about it than that because it's number 1 on Sophie's list and I want her to talk about why it's so cool at night.
All
So go
right
for
then.
it, Sophie.
I remember. I don't remember if this was at night or not, but I remembered Mommy and I were going on Big Thunder Mountain once, and
Yeah.
we were climbing up the hill, climbing, 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 about to go down that big first drop, and we stop. We're in the front
Oh,
car, and the front car stops right on the apex of the hill, and we are just sitting there for like
oh wow.
minutes, whole minutes. I want to say somewhere between 3 and 5.
Okay.
And we're just looking around, and I'm like, Mommy, imagine all of this at night while the fireworks are going off. And she was like, Sophie, that is an awesome thing to imagine. And so, next thing I remember, we're going on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and it's nighttime. I don't think it was the same trip, but when I'm thinking of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, I'm thinking of it, and it's me, Mommy. I actually think this was the Easter trip with me, Ma, and
Mhm.
you stayed behind with her and sat
Yep.
so that Mommy and I could go ride a ride together.
Yep. And you rode Big Thunder Mountain.
Yep, and it was just as I had imagined it. Everything. You see this picture of the castle right here? This is actually one from my Easter trip. Imagine that, but it's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Everything is bathed in blue and pink light and some green, I think, and it is just so, so cool.
Yeah.
So amazing. And then, of course, there's this little scene in Big Thunder Mountain that's a ghost town. And do you want to talk about this or do you want me to talk about
I
it?
would love to talk about that.
Okay, then I'm shutting up now. On to
Okay.
Daddy.
All right. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Of course, you're going through the mining town and it is a ghost town. And one of the things that you can see is you can see at the top as you're going through, above you is where the um, the girls are dancing in the window, and you can see them better at night. You can't really, you can maybe catch a glimpse of it during the day, but it's really hard to notice. But at night, it really stands out. And it's so cool. It's such a neat effect to just like you're just seeing a shadow of someone dancing, you know? But it's just really neat, and it's just one of the things. And one of the, like Sophie said, with fireworks going off, um, if you time it right, and like we said, if the fireworks shows are getting ready to start, you can almost walk right onto Big Thunder Mountain, like 5 minute wait, you know. And as you're going, you can look around and you can see where the fireworks are going. You can see fireworks is exploding. It's just really neat. So yeah, it's a great attraction, and that's why for Sophie and I, it's both of our number one. You know,
Yeah. It's
and
just really cool.
and that trip at Easter when you and Mommy rode Big Thunder Mountain, that was at night because it was the last
Mhm.
attraction before we left, and we were leaving for home the next day.
Yeah.
That was a great trip.
That was a great trip.
Wow. So, so one question I have is, which ones did we miss? You know,
Hmm.
like walking Peter Pan, walking out of Peter Pan after riding it, and it's nighttime and you're in fantasy. That's just incredible too.
It
I didn't
is.
even talk about Slinky Dog. Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah, neither did
Seven
I.
Dwarfs at night is incredible.
There's just so many good attractions at night. We can't really talk about them all.
Yeah. So I'm
Oh,
surprised that Seven Dwarfs didn't make my list.
well,
Anyway, what is number one on Brenda's list, Sophie?
number one on Brenda's list. And this is one that I talked about, but clearly she loves it more than I do. And that is Expedition Everest.
That is the quintessential Animal Kingdom. That is the attraction at night. I just don't think I've ever ridden it at night.
No, I don't think we have because we've never been there at night. We
Now,
usually go in the morning and then we
really
get out
overheated and
early.
leave
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're sweating like pigs. Now, we have been to Animal Kingdom at night. When you were really young, we actually had a time when there was extra magic hours, and in the extra magic hours, we were able to go to Dino Land USA, and they had a block party with Chip and Dale and Goofy, and it was just so cool because you were interacting right with them. They were just everywhere. All the kids and all the parents could just go up right to them. It was like handlers. We don't need lines to go see the character. They were all right there in the middle of the party, just like we were, and it was so neat to be able to do that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, at that point though, we couldn't go around and go up to Expedition Everest. It was only in Dinoland USA that they had the nighttime hours because of the animals needing
Yeah.
to get put down for the night. Um, so anyway, that you know, one of the things that I would like to do, maybe in the future they'll bring it back if they haven't yet, is the nighttime safari at Animal Kingdom, where you could go out on the Kilimanjaro safaris at night to see the animals with the night vision goggles. That was a tour, and I don't know if they are doing it or not, but that would be really neat to experience, I think.
I agree.
So if we could do Kilimanjaro safaris at night, that would be on my list.
Mhm.
Um, Epcot, you're right, Sophie. Epcot for me is more about
I don't think
it,
there's any truly outdoor rides at Epcot.
right. It's
Test tracked
about
maybe, but
yeah, and that would be about it. And that's only part
Mhm.
way. But for me, Epcot is more about walking around World Showcase at night than riding a ride at night. Um, Hollywood Studios, you're right. Hollywood Studios at night is incredible. You know,
Underrated.
totally underrated. Um, Magic Kingdom, of course, is where it's at. There's so many outdoor things.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the classic.
Tomorrowland Speedway, I think I've ridden at night with
Mm,
Stephanie, maybe.
the people mover.
People Mover at night. Oh my gosh. Seeing all the lights in Tomorrowland is so cool. You know,
Mhm.
one thing, and it's not even a ride, but it
The
is a ride.
the monorail?
It's a Skyliner at night.
You're right. You're right.
Skyliner at night,
Skyliner.
heading back to your resort is
And
just
you
really
can
cool.
see like 360 all around you.
Yeah. So the
Oh my
Skyliner would
gosh.
almost be an honorable mention for wanting to ride it at night. So anyway,
Oh my gosh. I remember that time we rode the Skyliner. It was right before the Riviera opened.
uh-huh.
And here's the thing. I'd never seen the Caribbean Beach Resort before. So when we were skylinering over it to the Riviera, I was like, is all this part of the Riviera? I was like, I want to stay here. This looks awesome. I thought
Caribbean
it was the
Beach Resort
Riviera.
is really big. Of course,
Yeah,
Caribbean Beach Resort, Sophie, is the original
modern.
moderate resort for Walt Disney World.
Yeah,
That's why it was so big. And it's still big, but it's also the perfect choice for making the Skyliner hub right there
yeah,
that
because it's
takes
in
you
the
to
middle of
everywhere because it's
everything.
right in the middle of all that. So,
Yeah, and it also helps to it also gives it more business that way. Because a
hmm
lot of people want to stay there now. Meanwhile,
yeah,
before it was like, the Caribbean beach, what's that? I've never heard of it
hmm
before.
yeah, they did a really good job in bringing new life into Caribbean Beach because there
Yeah.
was a time when people didn't really want to stay there because it was so big.
Yeah. Of course, now it's like an awesome place to stay, and I would love to stay there.
Yeah. So,
All
anyway,
right, then.
great feature topic. I think we held our own, Soph.
I think we did.
Even
Shame
with
it.
no Brenda, you know,
Oh,
and we
such a
miss you,
shame.
Brenda, but we are glad we recorded, and I'm glad you told us to go ahead and record, and and I'm glad we got your input, and we
Mm-hmm.
hope you feel better so that you'll be back next week. But
Yeah.
before that, we are not done with the show, not by a long shot. So, Sophie, it is time for this day in Disney history for October 31st. So, why don't you take it away?
Mm-hmm. And I know Aunt Brenda would have loved to be here in order to hear this, because this is about one of her beloveds. This is one of her favorites. I'm talking about one of the 9 old men today.
Yes.
Yes, and October 31st, 1912, animator Ollie Johnson, a Disney legend no less, and of course one of Walt's 9 old men, is born Oliver Martin Johnston in Palo Alto, California. Did I say that right? Palo Alto,
Palo
California?
Alto. Yeah.
Palo, Al- Palo Alto, say that 5 times fast, California. Starting at Disney in 1935, his many contributions include Bambi, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Mary Poppins, The Aristocats, The Jungle Book, The Rescuers, and The Fox and the Hound. Happy birthday, Mr. Johnston.
Happy birthday in heaven. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to talk about how he's dead.
Well, he's not dead, he's passed on. So, anyway,
It may be
that
Halloween, but let the spirits have their fun on Earth for tonight.
okay. Well, that was a great history. So thank you, Sophie, for sharing that. And now, time for me to stump the Soph. I've got it this time. I'm telling you, one of these times I'm going to say I've got it and I'm going to be right. And it may not be this time,
It was so funny.
but it
Before
may be.
It was so funny. Before we started recording, he was like, "Sophie, I've got a great character," and I was like, "Oh yeah, which character?" Thankfully, he was smart enough not to answer me, but I still think it's funny.
It was funny. It was funny. So, this character was the star of stage and screen.
The star of stage and screen, you say?
Hmm?
Hmm.
You thinking? You ready for next clue?
Yes, I know that it can't be the Penny girl from Bolt, but go on.
It's not Penny from Bolt. You're absolutely right. It can't be her. Um, this character had a tragic death.
Tragic. Ernesto de la Cruz?
Yes, it is Ernesto de la Cruz.
Remember me, though I
Even
have
though
to.
I stole the song, remember me.
Oh gosh, good
And
one.
yeah. So there's not a whole lot on him. It just says star of stage and screen, the charming and charismatic Ernesto de la Cruz is the most famous musician to ever come out of the town of Santa Cecilia. Even after his tragic death on stage during a live performance, De La Cruz is just as beloved in the land of the dead as he was in the land of the living. But if you watch the movie, you will learn that at the end, he was not all that much beloved anymore. Right? So,
Well,
like I said, I'm going to get you. And I got you for one clue, but not the second.
what was the third clue? Did you have a third
Just
one?
as, yeah, just as beloved.
Ah,
But I wasn't going to say anything about the land of the dead or the land of the living because I thought that would give it away.
it would, yes.
So, tragic death, and you thought of Ernesto de la Cruz, huh?
He was
Ah,
crushed by a giant bell.
yep,
Twice.
twice. Well, good job, Sophie.
All right, thank
Well,
you.
that is our Disney Stump the Sophie segment, and now we have a little bit of Walt, and I am going to play the role of Brenda, unless you want to, Sophie.
No, that honor goes to you.
Okay. Well, it's a short and sweet quote, and Walt Disney said, excuse me, he said, everyone falls down. Getting back up is how you learn how to walk. And that pretty much sums it up, you know. Falling down is a metaphor. You can literally fall down, of course, but you can fall down like he did with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit and having to get back up and learn how to walk with Mickey Mouse, you know, or and on and on and on. There's so many different ways that can apply. So I
Yeah.
just thought that was appropriate. So, but
I,
that is our show for this week.
mm-hmm. And I think it was a good one, even though Aunt Brenda couldn't be here.
Yeah. So hopefully Aunt Brenda will feel much better and will be able to join us next week. And coming next week, I've got a really serious question for everyone. The question is, and this has been posed by several of my clients, and I have my opinions and you have your opinions, Sophie. But I want to get Brenda's input, and I kind of want to open it up and just see what the consensus is, and if we can come to a consensus. But the question is, should I get Genie Plus and or purchase individual Lightning Lane attractions? That's the question. And that's
Well, I
the
could tell
topic
you
next week.
I could tell you the consensus on that.
Well, don't tell her right now because we gotta record it next week.
I know. We'll talk about it next week. Let's just say there's going to be some spicy commentary next week.
Well, I don't know how spicy we get. We want to keep it good. But anyway, I'm Mike. She's Sophie. Brenda says hi. Grogu is waving. He's ready to go get some Snickers bars. He loves Snickers bars. He wants some macarons too, but many people don't hand out macarons when you go trick-or-treating, Sophie. Tell him that. Make sure he's aware of this.
I'm gonna be
disappointed.
Hey, my store sells macarons. He'll be fine.
Okay.
Of course, only the green ones, no blue ones.
Yeah. But anyway, we hope you all have a great week.
And a happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yes, exactly. And we will
see
you on the road. Bye.
Bye.